welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Alexander Armstrong. In the news this week, as the Tories attempt to boost their vote in Scotland, there's a better reception than expected for the Conservative campaign bus. Campaigning in the Lake District, Vince Cable reluctantly agrees to take part in a photo opportunity. After a photo call in Downing Street, Gordon Brown tells colleagues that if any of them doubts his ability to win the election, they should come in for a private chat. And just a few minutes later, John Prescott pops into number 10 to use the downstairs loo. On Ian Hislop's team is a writer and broadcaster who presents the BBC4 quiz show Only Connect. For those of you who've never watched it, BBC4 is a sort of arts channel. Please welcome Victoria Coren. And with Paul Merton tonight is a man described by Wikipedia as one of the leading hidden masters of British comedy, proving how easy it is to write your own entry on Wikipedia. Please welcome Richard Herring. And we start with, well, what else could it possibly be? The story everyone's talking about this week. Paul and Richard, please take a look at this.
So it's obviously Scrabble. It looks like it's been commissioned, this short film, has it?
Someone doesn't know how to play Scrabble. You can't play Scrabble up the board and unconnected to any other words. There.
No, you're
that's
right.
Paul there, I think that's meant to say.
Oh, yes, it has to be connected with something.
It has to
play
be connected.
Scrabble?
I play a lot of Scrabble.
Do you?
I'm furious about this very story, yeah.
What is the story?
They're allowing you basically to just make up your own words, as far as I can see, which makes it a lot easier. Okay. You're allowed to use any... Previously, the rules were that you can't have a proper noun, so you couldn't have Paul.
No.
You could have Hislop, that's probably means something.
Yeah.
I think it means man who increasingly looks more like his spitting image puppet than he does. I think that's what it means.
No, we don't know whether this is the puppet or not yet. Let's decide out, you might be right.
But now they're allowing you to use any proper name, so that just means anything, really.
It's made the game easier, is that?
Well, it does. I'm going to have a child and call it Quiverta. And then it's a proper name.
Absolutely.
So anything's allowed. I play a lot.
Yeah.
But,
that's worth destroying a child's life just to get some points in Scrabble.
It is. You get a lot.
I was brought up no proper names. Now, according to the owners, you can use words like Beyoncé, which I gather is a type of tree.
The new rules, you can just throw the tiles anywhere on the board.
Does it have to be on the board? Can it be on your windowsill?
What's quite enjoyable about this is that the professional Scrabble players, which there are some of, use kind of the most obscure words like ZA. ZA is allowed. That means pizza, and IO and jar and all these kinds of...
ZA means pizza?
Pizza, yeah, it's short for pizza. ZA. Well, you use that all the time, surely.
Pizza's a fairly short word.
Well, if you like pizza as much as me, you don't have time necessarily sometimes to order the whole thing.
Right, yeah.
There's only one Z anyway, so you couldn't do pizza.
You couldn't do pizza? Why? What?
There's only one Z in the set.
Oh, I see. What if you had the blank tile?
Yeah.
Of course you could.
Yes.
It'll be an awful waste of the blank, though, really. You want to be scoring at least 30 or 40 points for using that blank. My best score is equators over 2 triple word scores. Can we just talk about my Scrabble?
Well, how much do you get for that?
I once played... I've played competitively in like, proper tournaments.
Really?
I'm like the Vicky Coren of the Scrabble world. She is to poker, I am to Scrabble.
Let me just stop you right there. If you played equators... then either you're using 8 tiles or you're playing on either side of a 2-letter word, which is, I think, you'll find not legal.
It's very... No, equators... EQUATORS is 8 letters. There was something already on the board. I played around.
Wow.
Oh, he added...
Do you know, it's moments like this I start looking forward to the general election coming.
I still don't like your definition of Hislop. Particularly coming from someone wearing that particular moustache.
Well, I think last week you had the guy from UKIP on and they wanted someone more right-wing. I was the only person. slight misunderstanding. I'm doing a show about reclaiming...
You're doing a show in which you play Bob Ainsworth, the Defence Secretary.
That's the next year's show. It could be... It's called Hitler Moustache. I'm trying to reclaim the toothbrush moustache for comedy. Charlie Chaplin had it first, didn't he? You know about him.
Yeah.
And then Hitler came along, kind of ruined it for everyone, didn't he? It was probably the worst thing he ever did.
I have to say, as far as history records...
But that's explained it. I'm very happy now.
Yeah. Hopefully that'll stay in the show, or I'm just going to look like an idiot.
Anyway, back to the Scrabble so they can cut right back into it.
UKIP would score 10.
UKIP would...
You'd say you'd be allowed it, wouldn't you? It'd be quite a good use of... Because a K and a U are nasty to get rid of together. I mean, up till now, we've only had orc. It's had to be orc.
Can I phone my agent? I think I'm booked in the wrong show. I think it's a change of day that's confusing me.
This is the controversial rule change that will allow Scrabble players to use place names and celebrity names. According to the Mail, the makers are hoping to make Scrabble more appealing to younger people by allowing proper nouns, to which young people in their thousands have responded... Hmm? The makers of Scrabble have announced proper nouns will be accepted from July. Oh, there's a good one. July. 42 on a triple word.
It would be 45 on a triple word.
Oh, would it?
8, 1, 1 and 5 for the Y. 15, 45.
Tile counting.
I'm just saying.
Ian and Victoria, here is yours.
Vote for change. This is changing the Scrabble rules again. Oh, that's Gordon shaking someone's hand. She's bemused. They're off. Look, it's double act. OK, so this is the election. It's incredibly exciting. They said, we're going to announce the election, and then they did.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant.
May 6th, which is Tony Blair's birthday.
Something to celebrate.
What better present than to see Gordon Brown comprehensively beaten? Absolutely make his day. No, I think everybody's just very depressed about it, and it's like, it's sort of... You know those tennis matches, those great tennis matches, where you think it's a real shame for either of them to lose? It's like the opposite of that. Peter Mandelson said, you've got a choice between granite and plastic.
The problem with the metaphor of... I mean, I noticed Mandelson saying it's granite, Gordon, plastic, Cameron. I mean, plastic's quite useful in the modern world. I don't know how many of you use a granite bag for your shopping. I feel that's Gordon, really. A bit useless. But again, there's no bias on this show, so let's get on with the election. They're all off.
They are. They're all off.
And it's incredibly exciting.
As you say, very exciting. Sky News certainly very excited about it. Have a look at this.
Parliament won't actually be dissolved today, giving it time to finish off any business. This is known in Westminster as the wash-up period. Parliament will be dissolved on Monday, and at that point the election campaign officially kicks off. This lasts for some 17 working days. Campaigns have daily morning news conferences held by main parties. But also the campaign preparing for free live televised debate.
The Sun's also come up with some fantastic graphics to help us understand how the polls are doing. The race to number 10.
Why are they all wearing sleep suits? But they did go jogging. I mean, as soon as the news came out, there was a picture of Gordon. Apparently been jogging for about 10 minutes in the park, completely knackered. He was helped into a car.
He should go the other way, I think, and just prove how much he can eat. It should be like
Yeah.
that. He would just eat a gigantic pizza, maybe. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen that programme, Man v Food, on satellite channel, where someone just eats a massive amount of food, rather than trying to keep up with the younger man. Just go, look, I can eat the biggest hamburger in the world. I'd vote for him, then.
Well, you've always got Prescott.
If it's exciting, it's because there are all these independents.
Yeah.
I think it's still technically possible for Joanna Lumley to form a party and sweep to power.
There's a lot of not very interesting bits of trivia floating around in the papers. I want to see what the Times had to say. It revealed on the day of the announcement that Gordon Brown would be the 10th Prime Minister to ask Elizabeth II to dissolve Parliament. Once again, she just said, yeah, all right, go on then. What did Cameron say he was doing in his first campaign speech?
He was talking about the people who are ignored. He's going to reach out to the great ignored.
He was fighting for the great ignored. Nice of him to think of Nick Clegg at this time. Did you see where the two main party leaders actually went on their first jaunts?
Well, he went north.
Yes.
To prove that he's northern.
Yeah.
Which you can tell by his accent and his background.
You can.
And Brown came south to Kent.
That's right, to Ken. But even on the campaign trail, he's fantastically competitive. Have a look at this.
What age are you? 5. My son's 6.
That's not even the symbol for 5.
Also, I checked Gordon's figures. He's had some problems with those. If they're anything like the defence budget or immigration, his son's probably 18.
Meanwhile, according to the Telegraph, Cameron travelled to Birmingham and then Leeds,
Yes.
projecting his energy and enthusiasm. Completely wasted on the people who live there. How do their travelling arrangements differ?
Oh, well, it's Cameron's in a plane.
That's right.
Sorry, it sounds like a film. Tories on a plane. He's flying in a plane and Gordon's going by rail. I think that's right, to prove that he's more grounded.
That's right.
In the Labour posters, though, Cameron's on the bonnet of a really cool car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I assumed he was travelling that way,
Hey.
balancing on it.
In a Quattro.
In a Quattro.
That was quite an ad. Have you got that ad?
It was great. I think we might have it, yes.
They put Cameron's head on
On
Gene
Gene
Hunt.
On Gene Hunt's body.
They'd have been better from putting on with the hair of someone from Kajagoogoo or something. That would have been more...
But do you think they're going to think, Gene Hunt, we like him, we'll vote for Cameron?
I think they're going to think the one thing missing from Cameron is a bit of sort of muscular grit. Oh, he seems to have it now. He's just like Gene Hunt.
The Tories then took that poster and then turned it into their own. See what they put their own slogan on here. Fire up the Quattro. That's actually just an instruction to his butler to get his pizza ready.
Terrific, I've changed my mind now.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to vote Lib Dem.
That's good, yeah. Of course, we mustn't forget Nick Clegg throughout all this, must we? How is the Times... How is the Times monitoring the party's progress?
You say Scrabble's changing its rules.
They've recruited a jury of
He's
mumsnetters.
still going on. Mumsnet.
Mumsnetters, yes.
Mumsnetters.
Mumsnetters, yeah. These are what they said
I know
about
about
our potential leader.
You don't have to tell me.
If these women saw Gordon Brown in a coffee
I know
shop,
all
he'd be
this.
wearing a really awful blazer that's too big for him and listening to a talking book on his iPod. David Cameron would be wearing M&S jeans, the ones that look trendy but aren't. And of course, we mustn't forget Nick Clegg.
Yeah.
One mumsnetter said, not sure who he is. Various secret weapons are being wheeled
Yes.
out. What
Yeah.
are Cameron's secret weapons?
It's Samantha.
Yeah, exactly. Where's the,
The
wife?
fetus.
It's
fetus
the wife.
inside his wife. That's as bad as naming your child for a Scrabble game, isn't it?
Yeah.
When he gets late, you can go, we just had you so we could win the election. We called you Victor.
It was nearly slim majority.
Well, here's Gordon with his secret weapon, the lovely Sarah.
Oh, yeah, right.
And there's Cameron with the lovely Samantha. And there's Nick with... and Sam Cam, as she's called. Why can't people speak properly? Sam Cam is what she's now called, isn't it?
Well, everything has to be shortened. Sue Bow.
They never do that for Pete Doherty, do they? For some reason.
No, you're right.
Did you see The Guardian's April Fool?
Yes.
They produce a whole newspaper.
It was the fake story being that sort of picture of Gordon Brown looking a bit moody, and I think the headline was "Step outside, posh boy."
That's right.
And people actually thought it was quite effective.
Somehow implying that posh boys are sort of weedy in some way.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he'd be good in a fight, though.
No.
I think he'd be sort of petulant.
I think he'd come at you with an axe.
You see, I don't think so. I think he's the type who'd slam the door and then come back going, and here's another thing, because he thought of something really rude about half an hour later.
He'd slam your head in the door. You bastard!
Anyway, shall we play Guess the Shoes?
No!
Whose shoes is Samantha Cameron wearing here?
Her own shoes.
Yeah, it is.
You can't say her shoes, don't be ridiculous.
Well, I can tell you now, she's wearing 3-inch heels by LK Bennett. There we are. Yeah.
They love shopping at LK Bennett, the leaders' wives. It's just expensive enough to be chic, not so expensive not to be normal.
What about millets?
Are you going to rename this show Have I Got Shoes for You? Is this the new direction we've come in?
Well, no, what analogy did Gordon use to demonstrate just how down he was?
Oh,
with the
God,
kids?
football.
Yep, that's right. In fact, here he is.
Let me explain it a bit like this. I know Wayne Rooney's just had an injury to his foot. After an injury, you need support to recover. So with the economy. We're not back to full fitness. We need to maintain support.
But the analogy falls down because Wayne didn't go up to a door and smack his foot into it.
And here's another recent example of Gordon's grasp of popular culture.
You know, I think the only thing that I haven't been accused of recently is killing Archie Mitchell in the EastEnders.
In the EastEnders.
In the EastEnders.
It's like what your gran says. I've been watching the EastEnders.
This is the official announcement that the general election will be held on May the 6th. Launching his campaign on the terrace of the old county hall, David Cameron posed in front of Big Ben among supporters, tourists and food stalls. According to the Daily Mail, there was a whiff of candied nuts. These image makers have really thought of everything, haven't they? Now the election's been called. There's no time for the proposed 10% increase in cider prices, so great news for people in the West Country who are free to resume the local tradition of getting so smashed out of their skulls they end up voting Lib Dem. And so on to round two. In a homage to Victoria's shameless BBC4 rip-off of our Odd One Out round, it's time to
It's nothing
only
to do
connect.
with the odd one out. It's connected things. There isn't an odd one out. Ours are all connected. How can it be a rip-off? That's a libel.
It's not a libel. Trust me.
They used to have
2 points if you get the story from the first clue, 1 point if you require a second clue. So fingers on buzzers.
Okay.
Here is your first clue.
Schoolboy.
Mm-hmm.
Is he used as bait for Roman Catholic priests?
Not yet.
OK, give us a clue.
No, OK, here we are, second picture.
Oh, yes, children are allowed to judge their teachers.
That's right,
New
yes.
things come in, haven't they?
That's
so they ask
right.
you, if you were on X Factor, what would be your favourite song you would sing?
That's exactly right,
Yeah.
yes. This is part of a government project to give pupils more power. in
Why
their
did you want to see me,
education.
Father? That sort of thing.
Do you know any examples of questions that have actually been
Certainly
asked?
do. Oh, sorry, what about this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, what if you had a talent, what would your favourite talent be? If you had a song, what would you sing? Who's your favourite cartoon character? That sort of thing.
Who would you dress up as to go to school and why?
a teacher, because it's my job.
One foolish candidate replied, Gary Glitter. So, got the job. Pupils' reasons for turning down some of the candidates have been varied. Do you
Didn't
know
they give
any
a
of them?
job to one woman because she was prettier than the other candidate?
Almost certainly, yes. And one teacher was reported by pupils for speaking too much French in lessons.
To be fair, it was geography.
Yeah. And even successful applicants weren't allowed to feel too smug. Why?
Because they didn't really give them the job according to whether or not the children voted for them. Please.
Well, they then had to read why the pupils chose them, and there were reasons like one deputy head was told that she'd been given the job because by the pupils because they liked her more than the fat bloke.
This is a really stupid idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like inmates choosing the governor of the prison. We'd like someone who opens the doors. Why on earth should they choose the teachers?
Well, it's the government project to give pupils more power.
I know
over
it's a
their
government
education.
project, but it's still pretty silly, isn't it?
Another was given the post by pupils who later told her she was useless but had been the only applicant.
It's when they started dumbing down Scrabble, that was the turning point.
It's only a turning point in my life, I can tell you that much.
On the subject of education, which
Yeah.
unlikely wannabe librarian revealed himself this week?
Keith Richards, I think, from the Rolling Stones.
That's right, yeah. He revealed his ambition to be a librarian. He's even considered professional training to manage his thousands of books. Apparently, he even started to arrange his volumes by the Dewey Decimal System, but he gave that up as it was too much hassle. Didn't realise Dewey Decimal System was spelt like that. I thought it was like Dewey was a...
Spell it how you like now.
Very well, cool.
Does Keith Richards really want to be a librarian, or is this another name?
Well, he doesn't anymore. Did he realise how much work was involved in learning the system? But he was tempted. I
He
think.
realised he'd just rather take loads of drugs and have sex.
He
that
probably
doesn't
thought
have
to
much in
himself
life.
every night on stage playing the guitar, this isn't helping me becoming a librarian. I've done it again, haven't I?
This is the row over school pupils being allowed to sit in on job interview panels for teachers. Supporters of pupil power deny that the scheme turns job interviews into popularity contests. Pupils take this process very seriously, said newly appointed headmistress Cheryl Cole. Meanwhile, this week's most famous student is Alex Guttenplan, who led his college to victory in the University Challenge final. Guttenplan has now become something of a Facebook pin-up, even though, according to a friend, as far as I'm aware, Alex is single and has never had a girlfriend. Correct, 10 points. Fingers on buzzers.
Very mean. He was really good.
He was very good. Extraordinary.
Yeah.
Like
Gave
a machine.
Paxman a bad turn.
Yeah. Answered back.
He did.
Yeah.
Paxman saying, good guess. And he said, it wasn't a guess.
But what was nice, he waited for the applause to die down and on to the next question. Then he said, that wasn't a guess. Served cold. Good. Fingers on buzzers. Here's the first clue to your next story.
It's a woman who's scared of a mouse.
She's scared of the fact that her head doesn't sort of fit her bonnet.
Perhaps she's trying to explain to Gordon Brown that she's 5.
Women are generally scared of stuff.
Ah, no, they're not thick-skinned enough to be interviewees on the Today
exactly
programme.
right.
Radio
Exactly
Although
right.
the
Very
editor
good.
of the programme on Today said, I didn't say that. What I was saying, trying to make the difference between being a newsreader on television and being a journalist on the radio, and being a journalist on the radio need a thicker skin.
I think he's the one with the problem. I think it's like man flu. You know, he's a radio producer of a not terribly difficult show, so he has to say it's the most difficult thing in the world. It's like fighting a war. It's like being in a submarine when the air runs out. Women couldn't do it. I can, though, because I'm special.
Do you know what his name is, this man?
Kerry Thomas.
Yes.
And who's the woman on the chair?
I think
have
she's,
no idea.
I think she's not...
She's not important, is she?
Not important. Just some woman that's there, you know. I think it's just a woman on
Having
a
to do
chair.
the cleaning, probably.
Victoria, would you like to be on the Today programme?
Not after what I just said about its editor. I think it'd be awkward.
Think you could handle it, though? You could do that, couldn't you?
I'm not terribly good at an early morning start. If they move the Today programme to about midnight, I'm in.
Because you're playing poker online all night.
Yes, that
If
is
you went
why.
to bed at a reasonable time, you could have a job as a person on Today.
You're so kind. I already have a mother. And...
OK, what did former BBC Royal correspondent and Today reporter Jenny Bond have to say about this?
Bollocks.
That's right. Yeah. She said complete bollocks, in fact, yeah. Shall we just remind ourselves how much better men are at doing the tough political interviews? Here's another chance to see Gavin Essler exuding authority as he chairs a debate on Newsnight last week.
It's obviously important because we're
board.
spending all this time.
A man who took us into an illegal invasion of Iraq and who's left this country less fair than it was when he came in 1997. Gentlemen, has actually put up taxes on the poor in order to...
Gentlemen.
If that's all fairness, all I can say is you better keep it.
That was the former Deputy Prime Minister, the chairman of the Tory party, and a Lib Dem. Incredible calibre, isn't it?
But Victoria, you live amongst macho men. Your world of poker is completely testosterone-driven, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, they'll be all tough and macho over the table, but if you say to them you look a bit fat in those trousers, they run screaming away. I can see why in the Olympics you'd have male and female categories. I think sitting in a chair in a studio just going, right, what's my next question, this, I don't think it's going to be gender-specific whether you can do that job or not. And I think, don't we broadly think that men are the ones who are a little bit more sensitive and delicate and need looking after?
Also, women are really brilliant at talking, so they should get the job.
Yes, this is the head of Radio 4's Today programme who's been accused of sexism after claiming that women aren't tough enough to work on the show. Edwina Currie weighed into the debate about female news presenters, insisting women can get a lot more out of politicians by doing things a slightly different way. And I'm sure John Major would agree. Better news for womankind was the record number of female astronauts being launched into space this week. No fewer than 3 women lifted off from Cape Canaveral on board the space shuttle, although there was an embarrassing moment when they all turned up wearing the same outfit. Fingers on buzzers, here's the first clue to your last story.
Is it John Major again?
Oddly contoured for an empty pair of pants, that, isn't it? Here's another clue.
It's more pants. Not the new Olympic logo, is it? It looks like it. Is it the women in the space shuttle's husband's underwear waiting in the laundry basket for them to come back?
Are we going to try and... You better tell us.
Yeah.
Tyneside, South Tyneside.
Yes.
A man called Gary Craig.
Collects underpants.
Who has given himself a catchy nickname of Geordie Pantsman.
Is it something to do with that joke of putting a different pair of pants on every day and by the end of the week not being able to put your trousers on?
No.
It's like that same joke, if you walk for 50 miles a day at the end of the week, you're in Aberdeen. It's the same joke.
It's the same joke.
Same joke, yeah. Do you know any jokes, Alexander?
No, not a one. No.
It's a shame, isn't it?
This is a man, a simple record-breaking tale. He put on 211 pairs of pants.
And by the end of the week, he couldn't get his trousers on.
I dare say he could.
Although he was in Aberdeen.
He was actually in South Tyneside, which is some of the way there.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at him.
Thank God he had one pair on to begin with, He could get another pair on there. Why is he stopping? Was he called Geordie Pantsman first and he thought, I've got to live up to this name somehow? I'll move to Newcastle and I'll put on some pants.
That's it, is it? He puts on pants.
He puts on pants.
An activity most people manage themselves once a day.
But
What's the most pair of pants you've ever put on, Ian Hislop? One pair, 212.
211, actually. No, he didn't make the 212. Why? Do you know why he didn't put on 212?
Because I had them.
He ran out of pants.
Ran out of pants.
According to Pantsman, I felt like if I'd had more pants, I could have carried on. Surely this is something you'd have planned for, isn't it?
But 212 pairs would just be silly.
Who turned up to see Geordie Pantsman in action? You
Pierce
saw them
Brosnan?
No, about 150 people, each paid £3 with the additional draw of a bar, a disco and a preview display of some of the underpants.
There in the bin liner, there they are.
This is Geordie Pantsman from South Shields, who has broken the world record for wearing the most underpants in one go, after managing to put on over 200 pairs of Y-fronts, or YI fronts, I suppose they should be. After beating the previous record holder, who lives in Australia, Gary boasted, "I want to give the Australians something to think about." Right, time now for the odd one out round. Paul and Richard, here's yours.
All right, OK.
Tittlecott Bridge in West Yorkshire.
Yes. That's nice.
Marathon bars, the English Channel and the Co-op's ambient sausage roll.
Ambient sausage roll. Well, the English Channel was recently in the news this week because I think it's the French or somebody wants to rename it the English Pond. So is there things about being renamed? Like Marathon has famously become Snickers, isn't it, over the years? Gradually, it started off being Sarathon and it became Snarathon. So it's about name changes, isn't it? All these have been considered for name changes, but the only one that's changed his name is Marathon. It's as simple as that.
No.
The channel hasn't been renamed.
No, right, yes, the channel
English
hasn't
Channel.
been renamed. They've all been renamed,
Yeah.
apart from the English Channel, which the EU planners want to rename the Anglo-French Pond as part of an effort towards breaking down national barriers by creating new regions of Europe.
Well, that should improve relations between us and France forever.
In 1990, marathons were renamed Snickers to bring them into line with the global brand. It was originally named after a horse belonging to the owners. Ironically, the horse had been gelded, so no longer contained nuts. So. Tittlecott Bridge, no one followed the story of Tittlecott Bridge? It recently saw its name restored to the more traditional Ticklecock Bridge.
Yes.
After angry local residents launched a campaign. Local newspaper The Pontefract and Castleford Express said the council had been embarrassed because Ticklecock is a sexual innuendo.
No, it's not an innuendo.
No.
It's a statement of fact.
And which group was particularly outraged?
Pedants.
The Castleford area voice for the elderly.
Their slogan is "Aye."
Yes, can anyone think of any other UK locations that might need renaming because they're a bit rude?
6 Mile Bottom in Suffolk.
Yeah.
I always laugh when I drive past that.
There's Funbag Drive in Watford. Crotch Crescent in Oxford. And they may well be heading to Hampshire to change the name of this place.
Surrounded by nature, the perfect getaway, sheer natural beauty. Located in the New Forest National Park, Sandy Balls Holiday Centre, award-winning custom service and an exceptional holiday experience. From luxury lodges to caravans and camping, Sandy Balls, the year-round forest destination.
On to the ambient sausage roll.
Ambient sausage roll, yeah.
Managers at the Co-op have agreed to remove the description ambient from its sausage roll labels after admitting they don't know what it meant. In other renaming news, what job title's been glammed up to attract a higher calibre of candidate?
Prime Minister.
Dustman. Dustbin men.
No, according to the Daily Star, a swimming pool lifeguard in Ceredigion, Wales, has been renamed Wet Leisure Assistant.
I'm going there now.
That covers more than swimming for some people, I tell you.
Yes, they have all been renamed, apart from the English Channel, which EU planners want to rename the Anglo-French Pond. In Castleford, residents fought a campaign to retain the name of local landmark Ticklecock Bridge. Yeah. Of course, there are a number of other places with names that would make most people embarrassed to live there. There's Shitterton in Dorset, Twat in Shetland, Swindon. Ian and Victoria, your four are Anthea Turner, Welsh TV channel S4C, the funeral of Sir William Ormerod, and a public toilet in Macclesfield.
Well, Sir William Ormerod, you know about.
When we had a memorial service for my dad, I got a tip-off that we might be visited by a serial gang of funeral crashers, who are these rather unsavoury people who knock about funerals of strangers in the south of England in the hope of a free drink. So I invented this chap called Sir William Ormerod and put him on the internet, and I said there'd be free drink after the funeral, but it was for family and friends only. And they all wrote to me and said, I was so sorry to hear of Sir William's death. What a lovely man. I used to know him in the 40s in Yorkshire. Stuff like that. Plan A was to actually hold the funeral and fill all the free sandwiches with laxatives. And then I thought that might be a bit childish. So I didn't do that. I just, once I knew who they were, wrote about them in the paper.
If they want free food, if you go to Holiday Inn Express before 9:30, there's just free breakfast there. They don't check you're in. They don't check that you're staying at the hotel.
That's going to be an interesting rush on Saturday morning, isn't it? The Welsh channel you mentioned, wasn't that recently in the news because some of its programmes weren't technically getting any viewers at all?
Yes.
Do S4C just show a picture of a dragon?
That's one of their more popular programmes.
So they're not getting any viewers. William, what's his name, as he's fictional, didn't get any people at his funeral. Is that the line we should be going down?
Yep, they've all failed to attract public interest, apart from the funeral of Sir William Ormerod, which did indeed attract attendees, despite being totally fictitious. Yeah. How many people used the toilet in Macclesfield, do you think, between August 2008 and July 2009?
4, and 3 of them on the outside.
637. So the cost to the council of £17,100, which works out at £26.84 per visit.
If anyone's watching, they can come and use my toilet for £25.
Apparently you can use the toilets free at the Holiday Inn on a Saturday
You can.
You've got to talk yourself into somebody's room, though, haven't you? Yeah. Just come in to use the toilet.
According to the Macclesfield Express, the most popular toilet in the town is in West Street, which was used on 4,280 separate occasions. Is he separate? What's a separate... What's a separate occasion?
I like to save it all up for one special...
one conjoined occasion.
It's a massive...
Makes Christmas for me.
Anthea Turner was forced to cancel both of the dates of her Perfect Housewife tour following poor ticket sales.
Leave her alone. 2 people wanted to come and see her.
Yeah.
It's not bad, is it?
It's probably not brilliant. The Welsh TV channel S4C recent report revealed that viewing figures for some programmes were so low they officially registered as 0. Can you name any of the programmes for fun that officially failed to attract any viewers?
The Anthea Turner Roadshow live.
According to Telegraph, a soccer show called Scorio scored 0 with viewers. Yes, they have all failed to attract public interest, apart from the funeral of Sir William Ormerod, which did attract attendees, despite being totally fictitious. Anthea Turner's Perfect Housewife tour has been cancelled following disastrous ticket sales. Audiences were promised household tips, including 10 things you can do with a lemon. as well as tips on what to do with the turkey. Cancel it owing to poor ticket sales. According to her own website, Anthea's career has taken her from BBC local radio, presenting road traffic reports in Stoke. Although, ironically, no build-up of traffic round the theatre, Anthea.
It was... to have it in for her, don't you? You've got a tour coming up, haven't you? You advertised about a year ago, so you put money in the bank.
Yeah.
How's that going?
So it's all right, yeah. We're selling tickets, Paul.
You're selling tickets, are you?
Not in Preston, sadly, but...
Anthea Turner!
There is an Anthea Turner.
This is like a very, very, very poor Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. That's how many tickets you've sold.
I'll tell you one thing about this programme. Everybody's transfixed by a piece of paper that's coming down. That says a lot about our content, doesn't it? My God, what's this? Really, coming from the kitchen, look!
The Co-op are removing ambient from their sausage roll labels. If anyone's wondering what it's like to eat an ambient sausage roll, it's basically a more mellow, relaxing snack than techno-rave sausage roll. I'm sorry, I suddenly... I might just do that.
Don't choke
again.
to death,
No,
though.
They won't know whether to laugh or not if you do.
I think we all admire the irony of the situation.
Anthea Turner would be fucking delighted.
That could be the title of a new show. Anthea Turner's.
I would see that, actually. Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication the Pylon Appreciation Society newsletter. Issue 12 of the Pylon Appreciation Society newsletter features these pictures, pointing out that the photo in the centre was taken from a moving train. Just out of shot, there's a train spotter shouting, "Get a life." And we start with, I used to what? Not now.
Vote Labour.
Says Blair.
Is it, I used to get constantly interrupted, but not now!
I used to love politics, but not now. Yeah, this is just...
Oh, Anne Widdecombe.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I've got this thing where I just suddenly say her name. This is one of the least embarrassing times it's happened, to be honest. I get quite excited about it.
No, this is according to Labour supporter Robert Harris. Robert Harris's novel The Ghost has just been made into a film directed by Roman Polanski.
Yeah.
Comes out with a 15 rating, but Polanski swears it was an 18. Next, Sir Reginald Blomfelt what in 1928?
Developed the freestanding pylon.
Yes, he's right. He's absolutely right.
I think you should have that, yes.
Yeah.
Chose the winner of the Central Electricity Board Pylon Design Competition. Narrowly beating this. Next, Archbishop Watt down the pub.
Oh, gets Larry. Talks to regulars about God.
So, absolutely right. Says, spread the word. This is the Archbishop of York, who this week revealed, I've actually had endless debates in pubs. Debates such as, who spilt the pint, who's looking at whose bird.
You've never had that conversation in a pub, have you?
Me, no.
Have you ever been in a pub?
Yes. Why? Why not that?
I wanted to know what it was like.
Oh, I've been in a pub, me.
No, you look as though you're the sort of hard man who might have done.
Yes.
And had one of those conversations about
Pints and
the birds and
Yes.
pints.
Yes.
The pheasants.
Yeah.
Rats. You looking at my shoot.
And finally, Richard and Judy find what on their doorstep?
New novelist.
Exactly right.
New novelist, yeah. Because she knew where they lived in their holiday home, and she dropped off a novel that she'd written and been turned down by several publishers, and it's been accepted and it's been doing well.
This is exactly right. Yes, Star manuscript, which made a pleasant change for Richard. He normally finds Judy on the doorstep. So the final scores are... Ian and Victoria have 5, Paul and Richard have 9.
Oh.
Before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
Viva As Vegas.
Oh, very good.
Thank you. You ain't nothing but a donkey. Suspicious donkeys. Failed video games, Donkey King. Oh, Fuck you.
Yeah, I think on which note we say thank you to our panellists Ian Hislop and Victoria Coren, Paul Merton and Richard Herring, and I leave you with news that at a multiplex in Tehran, there's evidence that Iranian technology is lagging behind at a 3D screening of Avatar. As the Tory campaign ventures into a traditional Labour seat, the Camerons are made to regret their visit to the local superglue factory. And in the Mediterranean, the paparazzi snap one of Russia's wealthiest and most famous personalities on holiday with his family. Good night.
Animations, clips and hordes more, all online now at the spangly new BBC Comedy website. Next on BBC Two, ladies singles and the doubles finals from today at Wimbledon.
He did loads. I mean, I bet he did Little Donkey. I bet he did. He did loads of Christmas songs.
No.
He did loads of Christmas songs. The little town of Bethlehem. The king rides in on a donkey. Probably a bit late to be discussing this now. Once the
No. There's often there's a show they put out on a Saturday which is like 15 minutes of rubbish you wouldn't put in a normal show. This is the stuff they put in. And people sit up saying, "Isn't that wonderful? That was too shit to put in the programme."